right, guys, so we're back again. You know, I know it's been a while, and I know I'm missing my winter coat. But let's not talk about that right now. We're gonna go ahead and talk about something way better. Up yours. So we're back at it. I know, you know, we've been out for a while. How long has it been?
About a year.
Let's not talk about it. But the point is, you know, we're here to work on cars. And yes, there are daily drivers still, and yes,
there is some wear and tear. Do not judge. A lot of it's getting fixed, touched up. We do appreciate all the messages we've gotten over how well has the paint held on, what the clear coat looks like now. We'll get into all of that later on, of course, but for now, we have a new treat for you.
That's right. So what is it? Well, so like Gabe's done some fanciness and going and throwing some nice, it's not even Plasti Dip, it's a different kind of paint.
It's a dupli color.
Oh, there we go.
Color shift, Plasti Dip remake.
Yeah, it's like a blue to, or purple to
green to purple.
There we go. And yes, this is a bumper. Don't judge them too much. It has been loved, but for the most part, it's holding on pretty good. Rock chips here and there.
It is.
But whoa, what are we doing here? Whoa! I know the wheels are popped out, so what could it be?
And there's flares on the ground.
Oh my gosh! Is this a flare video? It might even be in the title, flare.
Right.
So we've pushed them out. Guess where we've gotten the spacers from? Yeah, but they're not going on there. So we decided to put them on here, and I don't know, how do you feel about it, Gabe?
I was a little scared at first. I was a little concerned about the fitments when I ordered their flares. We did go with the 70mm spacing. I thought they were just massive. I was like, man, that's gonna be way too much poke, but well, actually it is.
Yeah.
There's about a 2-inch out poke from where it originally sat to where it's at now.
Let's face it, no one really minds a little too much
No
poke.
one really minds a little too much booty. You know what I mean? So not to change your name from Monroe to a little Kardashian over here, but
yes.
you know, hey, let's get it done. You know, little cuttings, it's a little scary, but we got the death wheel ready to cut.
That's right.
The fender flares, we did go with just a universal fit. Now, no, this is not real carbon fiber.
Woo! Is that real carbon fiber?
No, it's actually hydro dip. Now, you're probably gonna ask, well, why'd you go the cheap route and not get actual carbon fiber? Well, one, I'm probably gonna crush these damn things with how white my wheels are, and I do want a little play on it for flex. This is gonna go away. We're either gonna color match or do gloss black, one of the two. If you notice on the actual ABS plastic on the inside, it has a little bit of a texture to it. This is the second set I've ordered. The first set did have a texture on the outer part, so I figured if I went with the carbon fiber, which had like a 2-day shipping on it, compared to the gloss black, which would have taken like a week and a half, it would have a nice smooth surface. I wouldn't have to do any body work to it, and we can still sand it down. We can still prep it for paint. So I figured, hey, you know what, 2-day shipping, I'll get it faster. You know, this is, you know, like a $6, $8 extra cost, but I mean, it's pretty smooth. There's not many imperfections at all. I know one of them, oh, actually this one has some little gouging right there, but you know, that's packaging, it's plastic, it is what it is. It could just be sanded out and that's, you know, ready to go. Right. But this is more or less what it's gonna look like. We are gonna have some minor cutting here and on the back side, so overall it should give a nice fitment. We are gonna have to, you know, just shave off a little bit on the inside for some extra clearance. And as it is, she already rubs like a fat girl's thighs, so I'm not too worried about about a little rub.
No, a little bit of rub means a little bit of love.
Oh yeah, for sure. Now the front fits a whole lot better.
Let's go around.
There's not much of a risk. Only thing is you are gonna have to pull in just a tad bit on the corners, and that actually pops out the center just a little bit more. Now for hardware, we did go with the riv nuts. We do have an actual kit for that. I'm still gonna put washers, which we weren't able to get today, it being our Sunday. Our location is closed for that, so we'll be getting the washers later, which we might actually color match to the green to purple color shift. But overall, I mean, fitment's pretty good. Like I said, the rears need one minor cut adjustment. I know my wheels actually turned out, but fitment's actually gonna work pretty good. Clearance is gonna be pretty good. We might actually be able to go a little lower on the car, which I do have coilovers for. So let's get to it. Let's get to marking down the lines, drilling out the holes.
See some action happen.
Let's get to it.
All right. Okay, so we've already taken the time to go ahead and mock up. We didn't do any recording on that because it's just, you know, useless editing. That's your rear flare, Gabe.
That's another thing.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's a universal kit.
So we've already made the line here. It's not really a line, pretty much the dots. So after we make the dots and we drill the holes, we've decided that we're gonna go that route first and then start trimming away. So that way we can be 100% sure that we're not cutting away useless metal. You know, even though you're not gonna see it, it's still nice to conserve metal. You know, measure twice, like we always say, measure 2, 3 times, cut once. Can't go backwards. So we've already decided we're gonna cut about that much, and we've already made our dots. So next we're gonna drill out, and then on the rear, come on Gabe, get up slowly, cautiously. Ah, geriatrics. All right, so then on the rear, this one's a little tougher because one, we've got the 4-door, we got the Dadmobile, and so of course here on the Civic you have 2 lines, 2 body lines. One's there and one there. So we've decided to go with the cut on the upper side, but of course we make lines on the flare at lower end, so that way we can move up for our cuts. And so this one we've already marked all the holes on the actual tape, as you can see. And so once we bolt those in, then we'll go and start like trimming away. So now it's time to drill some holes in the fenders.
Yes it is.
All right.
You have a better fucking drill.
Yeah, we can bust out the electric one in a minute.
I mean, the drill bit itself.
Put some back into it, Gabe! Put some back into it!
Dude, he's not doing shit. We need a better fucking...
So he's already drilling the holes. Always so nerve-wracking. Oh, that's plastic. But still, it's still a hole. There you go.
Oh my god, there's holes in my car.
Now we're gonna have to just make them bigger.
And if you've seen our other videos, you'd understand the definition of watering things out.
Yes. You're gonna waddle?
Waller.
I need some water.
Now, we actually had a good drill bit, sound like this fucker. That'd be going a lot faster, but it's not, so...
Little by little. I always say a little bit of love, you can't just force it in. It'll hurt. It's already hurting him enough to make the hole. Okay, so we've already taken out the tape. Here's the holes drilled in. Next step is to put the crimp nut in. And of course we'll show you how to do that. And then we're going to trim this rear fender. We're going to actually start doing the cut. So
now this is our crimping tool. Order this on eBay. Brand is Astro 1427. I think I paid like 40 bucks maybe for the kit. Wasn't really expensive. And these are the riv nuts. Now I know there's a new method of doing these, and they're actually rubber, which I want to say like Downstar uses. And the thing with these is once they're actually in there and crimped, they don't go anywhere. They're not going to flex, they're not going to move. The rubber ones give you a little bit of a give. They still grab from the back once they're crimped, but I just felt that I wanted something more solid, something more sturdy in a sense. I don't know, pretty good, you know, way of going about it. Pretty much this just gets placed here, tighten it all the way down as so. And now the kit does come with different size holders. You can actually exchange those out if you need a bigger insert, but this is perfect for what we needed. But yeah, so this goes into the spot that is gonna be
nice and flushed.
Nice and flushed. And then you just go ahead and squeeze both levers inward, and then it's just a matter of actually screwing out the actual holder.
Right.
There it is.
Real nice and flushed.
Yeah, so you don't got an actual what's the word for it?
It's actually really clean.
Yeah.
I mean, see how flush it sits there? And then it just looks pro-ski to me, you know? Like it's
yeah. I mean, I've seen people use self-taps. That's the word I was looking for. I mean, I've seen people use self-taps, and I'm not knocking on anyone that's used a self-tap. It does work. I just felt that this looked a little cleaner, a little more professional.
What's cool about it too is, of course, just with an Allen wrench, you just unscrew it, take it off, and screw it back on. Where like if you went with the other route,
the self-tap, where
you'd have to drill out every time.
Every single time. So eventually the hole gets bigger. You're having to use bigger self-taps. I mean, this is just one way in, one way out, one size. Just make sure you're not, you know, tapping into it incorrectly or crooked, so you don't unthread these. But I've heard of people actually drilling these out and then just replacing them with the new ones. So yeah, let's go and get them all done.
Get them all done. Okay, so we've made some lines. We put all the rivet nuts in, and Gabe right there is doing all the hard work. And now I'm just sitting down on that fancy chair, watching him do all the hard work. Oh, yeah. But we've already taken the time to draw out the lines on where the sacrifice cut's going to be made. And I think at this point, like, he's kind of lost the have you lost the actual, like, the fear of it? There it is.
It's still slightly there, but the fact of actually seeing how nice those rivet nuts sit, I mean, it's not a hack job per se, so it's not as scary as it was earlier. I'm actually more just excited to see it now. So yeah, I say that now, but once that death wheel's on, it's gonna be a whole another story.
I know.
I am running 17 by 10s, which, I mean, it's such a wide wheel. I knew that there was going to be some rubbing initially when I first got them. You know, obviously casualties of war. I lost my lip actually the first day that I had it on the Mugen bumper. We made an event. I left the event, and on the way home I hit a clump of mud. As we've mentioned, we live out in the country, and I had construction in the area.
Bro, careful with those clumps of mud, they'll get you.
They'll get you out in the country with all these tractors. I'm not even kidding. And funny story, I actually had a state trooper behind me, so I was like, man, I can't swerve around that clump of mud or I'm gonna get a ticket for looking like a drunk swerving. And I hit the lip. The Mugen RR lip is actually a 3-piece, which I don't know why they even made that design, but it completely just tore off. Parts of it hit the state trooper, and luckily got away. He didn't stop me or pull me over or nothing. I guess he thought it was just mud hitting his truck. And well, that was gone first day. And then I've actually tore off the bumper 2-3 times now. Yes, it's daily driven. I drive like 15-20 miles to work and back or so, and I am gonna replace the bumper with a new one. This is gonna be the first bumper that's under Mugen RR, and then I'm gonna get a second one to actually replace and get rid of all these battle scars, which I'm sure I'll put new ones on there. So
yeah. So we don't know what the point of getting a new one is, but
there's no trailer queen here. They're actually driven.
What were we thinking? Here we go. So cutting next.
All right, guys. So safety first.
That's right.
I don't want to lose an eye. Secondly, please put on your shield, man. Too many guys have lost fingers or gotten sparks to catch fire on their shirts. Let's just be a little safe on this one. As Jason mentioned earlier, we do have our line that we're cutting, so let's get to hacking.
I don't have any projected gear as the recorder. There goes the bumper.
Now, being plastic, you are going to get some of that melted section, but that's okay. We can always clean that up. Plus, it's covered by the fender flare. Hot plastic. All right, there goes that. Now for the fender section, always check what's behind it. You don't want to cut a wire or something that might be placed there. I mean, we know our cars, so we've done everything to them, but I know some people will hide wiring down here. Just double check that there's nothing important down there.
Smells like the 4th of July.
Well, there's our cut. Now, the death wheel is the best way to go. I've used people use like reciprocating saws, things like that. Yes, you are going to get some uneven edging if you've never done it before. Even if you have done it before, you'll still get some of that. You can always come back and kind of clean up some of this area. Recommended, I would use a touch of paint, either bed liner type or Rust-Oleum type, which prevents against rust, unless you're actually going to take it to an auto body shop and then have the body work and paint done to it. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back, I'm going to kind of grind up some of that area just to kind of smooth it out a little bit more. I don't want a real hard jagged edge.
No, and then we don't want it to hit tire and just cut into that tire.
Right, yeah. We don't even want that to come in and slash my tire. Like I mentioned, I mean, we are pushing out about 2.5 inches out, and it is a 17 by 10, so it's already wide. Now, I am planning on kind of hammering some of this outward, just to kind of get a little bit of a roll. So if indeed it does hit, it's actually hitting on a rounded surface instead of a sharp edge. You know, you can do it or you can not do it if you feel safe about it. I didn't take off a whole lot. I maybe took off about 1/2 inch to 1 inch on the thicker section, and the most far back section I cut off maybe about 1/4 inch.
Right.
There's not much of a chance of it hitting there, but once again, just take off a little bit off that edge. You just never know. But there's cut number 1.
So here we go. Gabe's already cutting out the backside. Ooh, she's smoking. What is she on? Now we got to work at taking off this outer metal, taking off the glue, or just making this cut. Gabe's just trying to clear out the metal out of the way so it can actually cut through the second layer. I know the shading isn't all that great. It is getting more towards the evening time, so the sun's coming down. Or it's on the other side of us. So I'm sorry if you can't see in full detail, but there it is. That's the inner plastic that we're gonna, or the inner metal that we're cutting off. So there it is. Gabe actually made a real nice clean round cut. Now it's just time to rubber mallet out. But it actually still looks pretty stock cut wise.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
All right.
So I actually figured one thing out. So initially we did the first cut. You can still see the second section behind it where I had pried open. Now I actually figured out that I can actually go through both at the same time and probably get a cleaner cut. Or I can actually splice and pie cut in some sections and then kind of go little by little. Since you're arching, the disc is flat, that might help a little bit. Bugs. And it's just one of those things that you kind of go along, you know what I mean, as you're doing it. Some cars have that secondary layer just a little bit more angled. Mine has a little bit flatter. It's a little easier to cut. But overall, it looks pretty good, as Jason said. It looks pretty stock. The cut's not super bad. I have seen people tape up all this section and then cut. There wasn't a whole lot of bubbling from the heat, which is something I'm pretty glad about. And even if there was a little bubbling on the paint from the heat, the flare itself would actually cover some of those imperfections. So just something you can keep in mind as far as, do you want to wet it prior? Do you want to tape it prior? I mean, that's really up to you. I didn't feel a big need to. I know Honda has a real thin metal, so it cuts fairly quick. I know some of the other vehicles that you all might have a little bit of a thicker sheet metal, so just kind of play with it. Don't be too aggressive with the death wheel. They can break and those blades will go through you, so safety first. I do have my little earplugs so I don't blow my ears out, but
next is rattling up or metalling up. Oh,
there's some breakage there, so you know, you feel some little pieces hit you. If you want to wear a long sleeve, that'll definitely help. But let's go on to the next step.
Yep. So there it is, one side done. Looks amazing. Like fitment's really good. Anything?
As Jason said it would be.
Yep. So you see, I know my millimeter spacings and all that stuff. So even if he wanted to go lower, he really could. I mean, of course, the only reason why he doesn't is because with this aftermarket RR bumper, you don't really get too much space off the ground. So, and then with the turning radius, and then the rear, even though he just pulled it off and I was going to show you guys, but he's actually thinking about keeping the entire flare. Instead of cutting it here at the line, we're going to just kind of heat it up and drill another hole and put the rivet nuts. Same thing here, because it actually looked cool going all the way through. So we'll show you that in just a minute. All right, guys, so both sides are already done. It looks pretty damn cool, you ask me.
It does.
Almost
it
looks
really does.
Like a white turtle. But my take on it's pretty good. We do have to adjust the suspension again a little bit here and there, but besides that, man, it looks cool.
It looks damn nice.
So,
now we did have to cut just a little bit more on the actual fender and quarter panel. One of the things that Jason and I always do, we always tend to cut a little less than we should.
For sure.
And it's better than cutting more off and then you can't go back. So we did make our initial line. We cut that off, put the wheels back on with the spacers, and figured, man, you know what, with a little load, it's definitely gonna hit on the actual sharp section of it.
Right.
So went up about another ½ inch, cut that off. Clearance looks pretty good. Yeah, why not? So
Right.
Overall, with the flares on and the riv nuts, we did leave just a little bit of section left on the actual rear fender flare.
Right.
Which now actually looks pretty good.
Yeah. If anything, we could always go in the future and heat it up a little bit and mold it closer to the body. But unless you're like really up and close, you don't even see that it's like
that little gap,
that itty small gap. And we'll show you in the video. So, but let's check it out. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit thumbs up and rock on. Thanks for watching us again.
And there'll definitely be more projects coming soon.
Definitely. So, we have some time again. So thank you, and let's rock this out.
There you go.
Ready?